My fiance texted busy day, can't talk, meetings nonstop. I simply replied, all good, talk later. A few hours after, her boss called asking if I knew why she hadn't shown up. She'd called in sick. Confused, I checked our Ring camera. There she was, leaving early that morning with another man. That evening, I played the footage at our family dinner, and the silence that followed was deafening. To understand why I said that, why I blew up my entire life, our future, in front of 50 of our closest friends and family, you have to go back. Go back 72 hours to Wednesday morning, before the party, before the presentation. My name is Michael, I'm 32. I'm a data engineer, which means I spend my life looking for patterns. I like logic, I like when things add up. And for 5 years, my fiancée Jessica added up. She was the perfect equation. She was charming, driven, beautiful, and she was just about to graduate with her MBA. I was so proud of her. I'd spent the last 3 months planning this massive surprise graduation party. I'm talking a private room at that new downtown restaurant, 50 guests, her parents Susan and David flying in, her brother Christopher, my colleagues, her friends. I had invitations hidden in my desk. I had deposits paid. I was the provider in the relationship. I paid her tuition for the MBA. It was my name on the lease for our high-rise apartment. I didn't mind. I really didn't. I saw it as an investment in her, which meant it was an investment in us. We were a team. I was the stable foundation. She was the one reaching for the sky. That's how I saw it. But she'd been distant, stressed. I just assumed it was finals. The pressure of graduating. Then, about a week ago, she told me there was a scheduling conflict. Babe, I'm so sorry, she said, not looking up from her phone. Work is making me go on this mandatory corporate wellness retreat. This weekend, the same weekend as the party, my heart sank. But she kept talking. It's non-negotiable. It's all day Friday, all day Saturday. It's at some rustic place up in the mountains, all team building and trust falls. She did a little fake gag. The signal is supposedly terrible too. So if you don't hear from me, don't worry, it's just woods. I was disappointed, but I couldn't be mad. It was work. It's fine, I told her. Really, just get through it. We'll celebrate on Sunday when you're back. I quietly called the restaurant and moved the party to Sunday night. Crisis averted. So fast forward to that Wednesday morning. I'm working from home, and I'm finalizing the speech I'm going to give at her party. I'm smiling, typing out all this stuff about partnership, about sacrifice, and about how proud I was that she'd finally made it. My phone buzzed on the desk. A text from Jessica. Ugh, this retreat is brutal. Already so tired. They're working us to death out here. Just endless silly games and hiking. The signal is awful, just like I thought. Can't talk, love you. I smiled. I pictured her rolling her eyes, stuck in a cheap lodge conference room somewhere. I texted back, hang in there, you got this, so proud of you, almost at the finish line. I put the phone down and looked back at my speech. That line, almost at the finish line. It felt right. Everything felt solid. Everything was on track. And then, ding, it was a different sound, not a text message. It was an email alert from American Express. We shared the card, but it was my account linked to my email. I figured it was just a payment reminder. I opened it. It was a new charge notification, a fraud alert maybe. Charge approved, $520.45. My eyes scanned down, Merchant, the Cypress Hotel, Lounge, and Spa. I just stopped. The Cypress Hotel. I knew that hotel. It's the brand new 5-star place, downtown. The one with the glass-bottomed rooftop pool and the $1,000 a night suites. It was 50 miles. 50 miles. From the rustic wellness retreat she was supposed to be at, the one in the woods, the one with the trust falls, and the bad signal. The two things didn't compute. The charge, the location, the lie. It was the first crack. The first tiny thread in the code that just didn't make sense. And I'm a guy who needs things to make sense. I closed the speech I was writing. I knew right then I had to pull on that thread. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I didn't yell. My first reaction wasn't emotional. It was logical. As a data engineer, when a piece of data doesn't match the system, you don't panic. You query. You run diagnostics. You find the source of the error. And Jessica was now a massive $500 error. My fingers moved. I didn't even think. First diagnostic, I opened the Find My app, we shared our locations. Her idea, actually. For safety, she'd said. I watched the little blue dot refresh. Ping. Her icon, her smiling face, was sitting directly on top of the Cypress Hotel. Not 50 miles away in the woods, not at a rustic retreat downtown. My stomach twisted, but my brain kept working. Okay, settle down. I started trying to build an explanation, a logical one. Maybe the retreat was at the Cypress. No, she said, rustic and bad signal. The Cypress is the definition of high-tech luxury. Maybe she just stopped by for a spa treatment, a gift to herself before graduation. $500 though. And why lie about it? Why the elaborate story about trust falls? It didn't add up. The data was conflicting. I needed another source. Second diagnostic. I opened our shared fitness app. We'd linked our accounts. To motivate each other, she'd said. I scrolled to her activity, and there it was. Jessica's 5-mile run, 8:30 a.m. This morning, she's dedicated, I thought, still trying to find an innocent pattern. Even at a retreat, I clicked the activity, the map loaded, my breath just stopped. It wasn't a trail run in the mountains. It was a small, tight loop around a single city block. I zoomed in. It was the exact city block of the Cypress Hotel. She had just run around the hotel for 5 miles. Or she just turned the app on. A cold, sick feeling washed over me. This was wrong. This was a lie. A stupid lie. But it still wasn't complete. The data set was incomplete. She was at a hotel. She was lying about it. She was faking a workout. Why? My mind raced. Who? And my brain, my stupid data crunching brain, immediately cross-referenced. Who else isn't where they're supposed to be today? I opened my work calendar, my team, everyone was online. Green dots, all except one. Ryan, my mentee, the new kid, the one I'd taken under my wing, the one I was fast-tracking for a promotion. He'd called in sick this morning, a sudden hacking cough over the phone. Sorry, boss, must be that 24-hour bug. I stared at his name, Ryan. No. It couldn't be. That's not a pattern. That's a coincidence. My heart was pounding now. The logic was fighting the emotion. I needed a final data point, a confirmation. I opened Strava, the other fitness app, the one our company used for corporate wellness challenges. We were all friends on it. I found Ryan's profile. And there it was. My blood turned to ice. Ryan's 5-mile run, 8:30 a.m. The same time. The exact same time. My hand was shaking, but I clicked it. The map loaded. It was the same loop, the exact same tiny loop, around the exact same city block. And that's when I understood. It wasn't just a discovery. It was a complete system failure. And it wasn't just one system. It was two. See, people build their lives on two foundations. The first is your home, your partner, the person you trust with, your future, your finances, your heart. That's the personal foundation. The second is your work, your professional life. The people you mentor, the colleagues you trust, the career you build, that's the public foundation. Jessica hadn't just attacked one, she had taken a sledgehammer to both. She had taken my fiancé and my mentee, and she had smashed them together. She didn't just betray me, she had created a professional betrayal. She had compromised my personal life and my professional one. She'd made a fool of me at home, and she'd made a fool of me at the office. The pain of that, it was something different. It wasn't just sadness. It was cold. It was a cold, sharp, analytical rage. And the engineer in me knew when you find a fatal error, you don't just patch it. You have to document the entire failure. You have to find out exactly how it happened. And then you have to purge the whole system. I sat there for maybe 20 minutes, just staring at the two matching GPS maps on my screen. I didn't get up. I didn't pace. I didn't punch a wall. I didn't even cry. That cold, sharp, analytical rage I mentioned, it was solidifying. It was turning into a plan. The sadness was gone. The hurt was still there, somewhere deep, but it was frozen. Right now, I was just an engineer, and I was processing a catastrophic system failure. I realized I wasn't dealing with a person anymore. I was dealing with a problem. And problems don't need emotion, they need solutions. My fingers started moving. I went back. Screenshot, the American Express charge, $520. The Cypress Hotel, save screenshot. The Find My app. Her icon right on top of the hotel. Save screenshot. Her fake 5-mile run from the fitness app. The stupid little loop around the building. Save screenshot. Ryan's sick day run. The exact same loop. Save. I compiled the data, the evidence, then I opened PowerPoint. a blank presentation. I didn't type my speech. I created a new file. I named it Congratulations, Jessica. I dragged the 4 screenshots onto the slide, the Amex bill, the location, her map, his map. I put them together, side by side. It was clean, it was simple, it was undeniable, it was the solution. I picked up my phone. I didn't call her. I called the restaurant manager, the one handling the party. Hi, I said. My voice sounded normal, even to me. Hi, this is Michael, for the party on Sunday night. I have a small technical change. He said, no problem, sir. What is it? I'm bringing my laptop. I need you to connect it to your largest projector. The one over the main stage? Yes, instead of the background music, I have a special presentation I want to show everyone. A presentation. He said, wonderful, Mr. Michael. We'll have the cables ready. I hung up. Just as I put the phone down, it buzzed. It was her, Jessica, a new message. It was a selfie. She was in a fluffy white hotel bathrobe, hair damp, smiling at the camera. The text read, Su'u exhausted. Just finished the last trust exercise. All I want is to be in your arms. This weekend is taking forever. I stared at the photo, the lie, the absolute audacity of it. She was still there, with him, lying to my face right now. And in that moment, any tiny lingering doubt, any thought of, maybe I should talk to her privately, it vanished. She deserved an audience. My thumbs moved. I replied, just one more day. You're doing great. Hang in there. I even added a heart emoji. That evening, she came home. The door opened and she threw her retreat bag on the floor. Oh my God, she sighed. I am destroyed. Absolutely wrecked. I think I pulled a muscle in the trust fall. She walked over and wrapped her arms around my neck. She kissed me. I didn't flinch. I hugged her back. You smell like lavender? I asked. The spa, she said quickly. The rustic spa. It smelled like pine and lavender. Ah, I'm starving, she said. I'm too tired to even think about food. I smiled at her. I held her face in my hands. It's okay, I said. I've handled dinner. You just go get cleaned up. Go relax. You've earned it, she smiled. You're the best. What would I do without you? I have no idea, I said. She went to the shower. I just stood in the living room, listening to the water run. The strategist. The silent strategist. The party was 2 days away, and I could wait. Sunday night, I opened the restaurant door for her. The private room was dark. We stepped inside. The lights flashed on. Surprise! 50 people. 50 of our friends, our family, our colleagues, all cheering, all for her. Jessica's hands flew to her mouth. The happy tears started instantly. It was a flawless performance. Oh my God, Michael, you did all this! Her parents, Susan and David, rushed over. Susan hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Michael, you are the son I always wanted, the absolute best. David clapped my shoulder. You spoil her son. Well done. I just smiled. She deserves it. And then, the best part, Ryan. He walked up grinning, holding a beer. He clapped me on the back a little too hard. Hey boss, glad you're back. He leaned in conspiratorially. You look tired, man. Rough week. I looked him right in the eye. I even smiled. It was a long week, Ryan. You have no idea. He just nodded, clueless. Absolutely, perfectly clueless. After the champagne toast, after everyone was seated, the restaurant manager gave me a nod. The projector was on. I stepped up to the small stage. I tapped the microphone. The room went quiet. Hi, everyone. I started. My voice was warm, proud. Thank you all for coming. This means the world to us. I looked right at Jessica. She was beaming at the front table, dabbing her eyes. Jessica, God, where do I start? I am so proud of you. We all are. You've worked so hard for this MBA. The late nights, the sacrifices, you've earned all of this. The room was just full of love. People were awing. Her mother, Susan, was already crying. I put together a little presentation. I said, my hand moving to my laptop. Just so you know, look back at the journey. The first slide clicked on. It was us. A picture from 5 years ago, the day we moved into our first apartment. Young, happy. The room applauded. The second slide. A picture I'd taken of her asleep at her desk, books everywhere. Susan let out a little sob. My baby girl. I let that moment hang. Then I clicked again. The screen went black. I leaned into the microphone, and my voice, it changed. The warmth was gone, and Jessica's dedication, I said, my voice cold. It's just incredible. Even this past weekend at her corporate wellness retreat, she worked very, very hard. Click. Slide 3. It wasn't a photo, it was the screenshot of the American Express email, charge $520. The Cypress Hotel. The room went completely silent. You could hear a fork drop. I saw Susan and David turn to look at each other confused. Jessica's smile froze. Click. Slide 4. The screenshot of her fitness app, the GPS map. Here's her 5-mile run from this morning, I explained to the room. Such dedication, just looping around the hotel. Jessica had gone white. Michael? What is this? 1 second, babe, I said. The best part is coming. Click. Slide 5. The checkmate. The screen split into 2. On the left, Jessica's GPS map. On the right, Ryan's GPS map. They were identical. And it looks like she had a running buddy, as said my voice cutting through the silence, my mentee, Ryan, who was also sick today. Susan gasped a sound like she'd been punched. David, her father, roared. He actually roared what? And he stood up, knocking his chair over, lunging toward Ryan's table. Jessica's brother Christopher had to grab him. Ryan looked like he was going to vomit. And Jessica. She finally found her voice. She jumped to her feet and screamed. Not a word, just a scream. Then stop. Stop it, what are you doing? You're humiliating me. The room was pure chaos. People yelling, Susan sobbing, and Jessica was just staring at me, her face twisted in pure rage. You're humiliating me. I just stood there. I let her scream. And I realized what I was seeing. It's a classic psychological tactic. It's called the narcissist's reversal. When a deceiver is caught, they don't feel remorse for their actions. They feel rage. Rage at you for finding them out. They immediately flip the script. They become the victim. Not the victim of their own bad choices, the victim of your exposure. Her problem wasn't that she cheated. Her problem was that I had just shown everyone the PowerPoint presentation. I let the chaos settle for 1 more second. I leaned into the microphone for the last time. You're right, I said. You are humiliated, but you humiliated me when you slept with my mentee in a $500 hotel room that I paid for. I was still on the stage. The microphone was still in my hand. The party's over, I said, into the silence that followed my last line. Oh, and don't worry about the bill. I've already paid for it, just like I paid for everything else. I closed my laptop. The click echoed in the quiet room. I unplugged it, coiled the cable neatly, and put it in my bag. I didn't look at Jessica. I didn't look at Ryan, who was frozen in his chair. I didn't look at Susan, who was openly sobbing into her hands. I just zipped my bag, walked off the stage, and headed for the exit. I heard Jessica try to scream my name 1 more time, but her brother Christopher just said, Jessica, shut up! Just shut up! I walked out the door and left them all behind in the chaos I had created. The fallout. It was immediate. And it was exactly what I had planned. It was a systematic purge. The next morning, Monday, I forwarded the entire PowerPoint presentation, including the matching GPS maps, the hotel bill, and Ryan's sick day request to Human Resources. By 10 a.m., Ryan was fired for ethical violations and time card fraud. By noon, Jessica, who had a post-graduation job lined up at the same company, had her offer permanently rescinded. 1 email, 2 careers, gone. Week 2, the entitlement began. I got a letter from her lawyer. She was suing me. She was suing me for $65,000 for emotional distress and public humiliation. She also claimed financial contributions to our apartment. Week 3, we had the preliminary hearing. Her lawyer started talking about my abusive behavior. My lawyer just slid the folder across the table. The AmEx bill with her name on it, the hotel, the GPS data, the texts. The judge didn't even look up from the papers. He just said, Miss Rodriguez, what exactly are your contributions? She stammered, I decorated. I made it a home. The judge dismissed the case in under 5 minutes. He actually warned her about filing frivolous lawsuits. Week 4, the financial karma. Her parents, Susan and David, after realizing the full scope of her lies and the MBA tuition I had paid, they were furious. Not at me, at her. They had paid the $22,000 deposit for the wedding venue. They sent her a formal letter demanding she pay them back every single cent. Week 5, rock bottom. Jessica, now unemployed with no job prospects and a mountain of student debt, she was now responsible for declared bankruptcy. She had to sell her car. The car I had bought for her as an early graduation present, she moved out of my apartment, which was never our apartment, and back into her childhood bedroom at Susan and David's house. 6 weeks later, I was at a quiet bar downtown, just trying to read a book, trying to feel normal. The stool next to me creaked. I looked up. It was Christopher, her brother. We just sat there in silence for a minute. He signaled the bartender. 2 whiskeys. He turned to me. She's a mess. I mean, it's bad. I figured, I said, staring at my glass. My mom, Susan, she's devastated. She's so ashamed of her. She told me to tell you that she still considers you a son. I nodded. I didn't know what to say to that. You did what you had to do, Michael Christopher said. Don't ever let anyone tell you different. We clinked glasses. And as I sat there, I thought about the last 5 years. You know, there's a reason we find it so hard to cut ties, even when we know we should. When you've shared a life with someone for that long, letting them go isn't like closing a door, it's like an amputation. You're cutting off a part of you, a part of your past, a part of your daily routine. And you know that even after it's gone, you're going to be left with this phantom limb, this ache for something that isn't there anymore. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to make that hard, brutal cut. You have to endure the pain of the amputation. Because you know deep down that the alternative, letting the sickness spread, is so much worse. It's the only way to save the rest of yourself. Christopher and I finished our whiskeys. We didn't say much else. We didn't need to. He paid the tab, I paid the tip, we shook hands, and he left. I sat there for a minute looking at my empty glass. Then I ordered another. I raised the new glass, a silent toast, just to myself. I lost a fiancé. I lost 5 years of my life. But I kept the apartment, I kept my dignity, and I kept my job. It turns out my best investment wasn't her MBA tuition. It was the premium plan for my iCloud storage. People always say that trust is everything in a relationship, but in the digital age, is verification more important? If you were in my shoes, what would you have done with that data? Would you have confronted her in private or done exactly what I did? This isn't the last time technology exposed a lie. Far from it. Let us know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to follow Ken, 7 Gnome Revenger.